So what do we mean by accessible tourism? Ultimately, we're talking about inclusive tourism experience that anyone can enjoy. So that might be people with physical needs, sensory needs, maybe hearing loss, many invisible access needs as well, not always wheelchair users. So what this infographic shows you is that the three key parts of the market, which is domestic overnight visits, that's British people taking holidays overnight trips in England, day visits, which is the biggest part of the pie, and the smallest part there is inbound trips. Now, when you add all of the spend by disabled people and their travelling companions together, it equals £12 billion worth of spend to the English economy each year. But it's a big figure, isn't it? I've just told you £12 billion, £3 billion, but it needs to be put into some perspective. So here we can see 14% of all domestic overnight trips in England are taken by a disabled person or a companion of a disabled person. And it's 20% of all day visits. So I'd argue that isn't a niche. Okay, so why is this market large, but why is it growing so big? Mainly because the population's ageing. The English and British population is going to continue to age, and as people age, it's more likely that they have some kind of an access requirement. But we know that the older markets love to take trips in England and visit the great destinations. Okay, so what can you do? What we say at Visit England is that if you focus on the three pillars of accessible tourism, you'll be doing a pretty good job. You can't look at any one of these in isolation, or the experience will start to break down. Information and promotion. So people with an access need rely on accurate information about your accessibility. And if you don't make that available on your website, then you're really missing a trick, missing a marketing opportunity. Customer service. Are you and your staff disability aware? Are you confident? So if someone comes in with a visible disability, will your staff freeze and think, oh my God, mustn't say the wrong thing. What language do I use? How must I interact with this person? So have you given them some training? Have they got some confidence there? And then, of course, the physical facilities, which is what most people think of first. Maybe ramps and widening doorways, but it's not always that, and I'll give you some examples. So an access statement is something that we've been advocating since around 2006, and it's a marketing opportunity for you. It's a way to describe your accessibility of your venue and your experience, put it on your website, make it available to those people with access needs, and they know, in that example here, they know from reading Lincoln Cathedral's access statement that they've worked really hard, there's a warm welcome, staff have been trained, and that they have a great experience. So they're given the confidence to take a trip and use the free Visit England online tool to create your access statement. Make interpretation and information easy to read. You would think that's a bit of an obvious one. You're creating marketing materials for your target markets. You want them to be really well designed, but easy to read. But unfortunately, we do see examples like the top one, where you've got a white text on a really pale background, or it's on a busy picture. And for most people, that's difficult. But if you've got any type of mild visual impairment, well, they're probably going to put your leaflet down and say, I can't use that. Large print menus, very easy option if you've got a restaurant. Have a large print menu available, but tell people in your access statement and in the restaurant that you have this option available. Some people will request and benefit from it. Evacuation is really important for disabled people. That infographic, yes, it's humorous, but, you wouldn't want to be in that situation, would you? Even small B&Bs, if you've got anyone with any type of an accessibility requirement, have a conversation with them about, their evacuation, because a lot of disabled people, deaf people, are very concerned about staying away. Staying in a hotel where they don't have visual fire alarms, it's just audible. Now, if they're sleeping in the hotel room and the alarm goes off, we've heard some pretty harrowing stories about people that have missed a fire drill. So you need to think about their safety. Just a couple more tips. If you have hearing loops, slightly more appropriate for larger hotels, visitor attractions, have you tested them? Do they work? Think beautiful, not clinical. Doesn't have to look medical anymore. And if you're worried that grab rails are going to put some people off, you don't have many rooms, or you can very easily get attractive chrome rails that you can take off and put a blanking plate on. If you're an accommodation business, there's some examples here of people that have signed up for the event who are in the National Accessible Scheme. And that gives you a set of standards to help accommodation operators in England improve their accessibility. And you can have a recognised rating from Visit England. So do look that one up.